This daf Yerushalmi Shabbos, and the article goes by addition with daf Kuf Hey Omer Aleph, the fourth line down. Hey Sivun, that's Vatani Lulav, which in the Vilna is the eighth line after the Mishnah on Pei Vav Omer Aleph. Hey Sivun. Now there are many different interpretations of this question. The Pnei Moshe is a very difficult interpretation. We'll just go give the similar interpretations of Korban Eidah and the Radal. Korban Eidah says the question is. According to Rabbi Lezer, do we say all machshir mitzvah derech Shabbos? Only ones where there's a special yafusa, is a special derivation. So the Gemara wants to prove for the fact that machshirei lulav are derech Shabbos, there is no special derivation, and all machshir mitzvah are derech Shabbos and yontif according to Rabbi Lezer. The Radal has a slightly different shot. The Radal says that. Based on something we said yesterday, that only things where there is in the Ikar mitzvah, we had a question, perhaps only things where the Ikar mitzvah is something which involves Chilul Shabbos. They're the Machshir and Derech Shabbos. Now where the Ikar mitzvah is only a Shvus. And here, by Lulav, the Ikar mitzvah is a Shvus. Just at worst, the Rabbanon of Muktzeh or the Rabbanon of Tiltu, perhaps in an appropriate place, but in any event, it's certainly not something where there's the Torah prohibition might not be a rabbinic prohibition. So why would the machshirim be doicha? It must be that again, all machshirim mitzvah are doicha Shabbos. Okay, so the Gemara answers that enachanami. Again, what is when the right time luv machshir and derech Shabbos, luv and machshir and derech Shabbos. So the answer is you're right. It's not going to the right. It's not derech machshir mitzvah stam not derech Shabbos. This all you're doing is bringing down from the tree, which involved they said the rabbanon of climbing a tree perhaps, but there's takur not makel and deraisas. Who says they're making deraisas for machshile lulav? Okay, so the Vaitai shofar machshir derech Shabbos. What about shofar? Is shofar and machshir derech Shabbos? We assume it means to make a shofar, which is certainly the raisa. So the Gemara says no, not necessarily. Lavi mechutz tchum could be just going. What's mutter is being mechutz tchum. So the Gemara says vitani kain. This is that true? That only the rabbinic machshir mitzvah mutter. It doesn't say ain, the to ain from ain megardin to ain megarin, because otherwise the word appears twice here as redundant. It says ain megarin it's to scratch or to embellish. From regarding, also another form of scratching. From farchin, and you don't in another cosmetically enhance these the lulav and the shofar. So okay, so it's mashma. These things which are not essential to the mitzvah, you can't do, right? To enhance it by grar, by scraping it one way, grud, scratching it another way, by pirchus, and enhancing it another way. But in fact, the other machshir, even the raisa, it seems you can't do. And time shem lezer, in fact, we learned lezer luv machshir derech Shabbos. So it sounds like he's all machshir, not just the rabbanos. So Rabbi Yehuda said, "Salka maslisin." He says, "No. This is the Mishnah was interrupted. In other words, it's only don't think it's going on all machshir. It's only going on shvusim, not on the raisos. And Salka maslisin it means." The Mishnah stopped in the middle, or that finished up the Mishnah, because L'Salek can also can mean both the Davar V'Hipucho, can mean that the Mishnah stopped in the middle, or that finish up the Mishnah, and the fact that Rabbi Eliezer only is matir to Rabbanans in Machshin Rabban, which are the Rabbanan, not Machshin D'Oraisa. There are numerous other pshatim in what those cryptic words mean, Salka Masnisin, but I think that's the pshat. But within this Korban Eidah does say that he has Megarden twice. And he says Megarden, one Megarden is going to show from the outside shofar, the other Megarden is going to the inside shofar. Maybe say Megarin and Megarden, one is on the inside, one is the outside as well. And below Mefarchim means to smooth off any uktzin, I guess, any sharp points to come out of it. I should mention the one other pshat in Slakas Masnisa, which means which is the pshat of the article is on the name of Meir Simcha, and one interpretation of Pnei Meir, that it means that just remove the Mishnah. Okay, to remove the Mishnah because it's the Brisa, because it's Mishubash, it's distorted. Okay, so the Gemara goes on. Tani Maisa Ora Rabbi Eliezer. There was a Maisa happened, and Rabbi Paskin like Rabbi Eliezer, which and that like our Mishnah said, if you didn't bring it for every Shabbos, you bring on Shabbos Megula. Rabbi Eliezer said Chabura Hesam Maksha. The Chabura asked the question, Mara Rabbi Laniach Tivechom Lasis Rabbi Eliezer. How did why did Rabbi Paskin like Eliezer over Rabbana? Rabbi Yeshua said Rabbi Goizer. We asked Rabbi the Moel. Goizer means the Moel, the cutter. Formerly he said, "B'mavish edim afulish." It wasn't talking about the Raisa. It wasn't talking about bringing the Ismael to Yerushalmi. It's talking about bringing it through a mavi where shedim afulish, bringing it through an alley which had 3 walls. So it's only the Rabbanan issue. Like we learned, also talim mitochel abatim. So, actually, I made the question. Parich, kadat ninam, bechilot ninam, bekazesh also taltel. Don't we know now it's a carry? Bechti Rebbe Lok Rebbe Eliezer Sfirle. So, evidently, the Gemara is assuming that even if it's the Rabbanan, it'd still be Aser, unless you Rebbe Eliezer Machshir Mila Doicha Shabbos. So, Rabbi Avo said, Kim tu betinok ve'izmo shabsu b'movi. So he said that which Rabbi was matir is where the child and the knife were both in the movi and not in a house. So therefore Rabbi allowed you to carry it. So the Gemara says, so what? Even the movi itself, now they carry from side to side. They didn't do a shituv. Now they're carrying the movi. Right? It's certainly not more than 4 amos. So how they carry them? What side was the amount to carry the movi? Says, well, is that true? Is that really a problem? So Bokum Rabbi Yossi asked Rabbi Yossi, come on to eat my list, kelim sheshabsu b'chotzer, kelim which they're not in the house of being Shabbos, they're in the chotzer from at the time Shabbos began. So metalti was b'chol chotzer, and carry them throughout the entire chotzer. Kavasos and so do chem sheshabsu mavli, it's telling them b'chol mavli, you carry them throughout the entire mavli. So maybe that's what it's matter. That holds you allowed to carry throughout the mavli. So the where it says it's a the Korban says it's a question. So bon minei mir min kmochen kenem shavsu b'mavi and tal b'chol mavi yodima shani chotzi yesh arba chitzos mashenkim b'mavi. So they weren't sure about that. It's a question. Is it the case you can carry in the mavi like a chotzer throughout the mavi, or perhaps chotzer is different because chotzer is 4 walls and mavi only has 3. So the way the Pnei Moshe reads in there, the Korban reads the next line. There's a dot, a period after Chol Mavi, and no period after B'Shabbos. Even though the period is after B'Shabbos. Let's check the article. Yes, that's what the article does as well. B'Shabbos Shonlei, when they learn Masechah Shabbos, they ask him the question. Blogi, we didn't respond. Delav Rabbi Yossi Omar Ella Kol Mila Basra. He only said each word. In other words, he only responded to the Talmidim if they asked in the proper place. And this wasn't a Shabbos question; it was an Erevin question. So, Kad Asl Erevin, when they came to Erevin, Amar Lam B'Shabiyah saying Rabbi Yochanan Kem Shishtav Zemavi V'Tal D'Sam Chal Mavi. Yes, the Kalim which began Shabbos in the Mavli, You can carry them throughout the entire movie. So just like, even though it says Kabbalah and simile, but it probably means just like the Kem Shabbos Chotzer. Rav Amar, Rav argues, Rav argues, or Yochanan says, Ein Matalis Ela Ba'arba Amos. You can only carry them within 4 amos in the movie. You can't carry it throughout the movie. Rabbi Yosef Rabun said, Rav Kedaite, Rabbi Yochanan Kedaite. Rav follows his opinion from elsewhere, and Rabbi Yochanan follows his opinion from elsewhere. Yochanan Mar Korah below Shituf Materes. Rabbi Yochanan says the a Korah by itself is mater movi, even without shituf. Presumably did an air of chatzerus, but he didn't have shituf movi. As long as it has a korah, it's enough. So then, who the amar matay sobchal movi? He holds you can carry throughout the entire movi. So the whereas Rav do Amar Ekar because with Shituf holds you can't carry in the Mavui. Kara is not matter doesn't mean to carry in the Mavui without Shituf. So who do Amar Ematal so Baramos? He holds without Shituf. You can only carry for Amos. So at Dait Rabbi Yochanan lays the Dover Mishanfim B'chol Mavui. Why bother ever making Shituf Mavos? You don't need it, right? You can carry anyway as much as you want in the Mavui. So Rabbi Yisavun Kidei Asos Kol Rishuyos Achas. So it says a fascinating things that it's an order as he says Shem Muta Talta B'Mavi Af Min HaKelim Sheshavsa B'Bayis. So that you should be allowed to carry the kelim also if they were in the house when Shabbos began. For that you need shituf. I think I made a mistake before. I know I made a mistake before, but I was wrong. We're talking about out Erev Chatzeres here, because there's Erev Chatzeres, we need an Erev Chatzeres suffice. So what do you mean you need Shituf? You just said Erev Chatzeres suffice without Shituf. So obviously Rabbi Yochanan holds that in the movie itself you can carry more than 4 amos, even if there's no Erev Chatzeres, no Shituf Mevos, there's no it's to carry in the movie more 4 amos, Kalim, which are Shabbos in the movie itself. The only reason you need the Shituf Mevos is in order that all the chatzeros around the mavli should be allowed to carry from the chatzer into the mavli and vice versa. This machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Rav about Korah working without shituf or not working without shituf is not in the Bavli, and there's a long discussion in the article in the Chilufei Gerusot section about alternative interpretations of our Gemara, but our interpretation we gave is the interpretation of Korban Eidah and Bnei Moshe, and the primary interpretation of the article as well, so we're going to stick with it. Okay, Rabbi Simon B'Shem Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, Sakit Shemila osin la chula umevia. If you sakit Shemila, you can make, need to bring it. Before we go on. So it turns out the Rebbe was not matter anything like Rabbi Eliezer, according to Yerushalmi here. It wasn't matter anything. It wasn't even matter to bring from one movie to another movie. Not matter any Rabbanans. He was going like the shita that within the movie itself you can carry it. And according to Rabbi Yochanan, I guess it's more of a chiddush. They carried it and carried throughout the movie. According to Rab, maybe you can only carry it up to 4 amos in the movie. But in any event, he was going in the movie, nothing to do with Rabbi Lezer, and he was only matir, really, that which is already mutter, that you can carry the knife and the child when they're both in the movie from one side to the other, and maybe he's being matir Rabbi Yochanan more than 4 amos, maybe he's only being matir Rav within 4 amos, but it was not really, I know it's shining psakik Rabbi Lezer over Rabbanan. So again, Rabbi Simon B'Shem Rabbi Shimon Levi said, Sakit Shemila Sila Chula Mevia. Sakit Shemila can make a chula like Pnei Moshe says, Melashal Machalu. Klamar Mechila Shlar Be'ebnei Adam Mikan. It's like a circle of people, Mechita, sorry. Shal Be'ebnei Adam Mikan. Kederach Sha'omli Machol, or like people stand in a circle. V'mevi Dar Mechitza Zu. And you bring it through this Mechitza, which is made by human beings moving together. Okay, in a circle. So that creates a mechitza around the Sak Shemila. Barmrina Havle Uvda. Barmrina had such a case where they didn't bring the Ismo from before Shabbos, and they wanted to bring it through, actually, on Shabbos, it's actually through Rosh Hashanah. That's you need a mechitza. So the mechitza, they use this portable mechitza. So he had such a case and asked him to do it. V'shara, and he permitted. Rabbi Ami v'aser. Asked Rabbi Ami, Rabbi answered it. Rabbi Ami answered it. V'ikra Rabbi Simon. Rabbi Simon was upset about this. They asked somebody else. Looking down, we learn Nishal. Nishal. It's a question how to learn this here. The way the Karban Adam learns it is that he's allowed to ask. So looking at that, why did Rabbi Simon get upset? Looking at that, he learned Nishal Chacham B'Iter. If you ask one Chacham is matter, Yishal Chacham Ma'achi. You can still ask another Chacham for a second opinion. Shema Yasser Meika is going to answer it. So the Gemara changes the version of the story. It says, you're right. That wouldn't have been a problem. Rather, the story is a different story. Lost my place. I'm Rabbi Yehuda. This is the case. Shol Rabbi Ami Vasle. He asked Rabbi Ami. He answered it. But Rabbi Simon short, and then he asked Rabbi Simon's matter. And Rabbi Ami got upset because the tiny, because that was like that which learned Nishal Chacham ba'Otzar Chacham. He asked Chacham and he answered it. Then I shall Chacham Achashem Yatir. He had another Chacham to be matter, so that he should be matter it. Okay, that's going to Korban Ei's Girsa, but the Pnei Moshe seems to have the Girsa, although it's not 100% clear, it's Pnei Moshe himself. But like Gillian Shas references in Gemara Avodah Zarah, which is also the Torah Shabbat and Shai Teresah brings it down. The Gillian Shas just brings the Maramokum, but it's the that it actually it's in the first Gemara, Shal Simon first version. Shal Rabbi Simon v'Shara Shal Rabbi Ami v'Aser v'Ikra Rabbi Simon. Rabbi Simon was makpid, and now why was he makpid? He was makpid. Looking down, Yishal Chacham B'Iter Al Yishal Chacham Acher. Not putting the word al or lo, same meaning. Don't ask another Chacham Shema Yaser, because he might answer it, and that's Rabbi Simon got upset because. Once you ask one Chacham, now you ask another Chacham, even if he first Chacham was Mati and the second Chacham Masters. And then according to that, the next Gemara is just a different version of story. It's not actually changing it. Just saying, I'm Rabbi Yehuda Abu. This is the case. Shora Rabbi Ami Basle, asked Rabbi Ami, asked him, Rabbi Simon Shora, asked if it was Makbid, and it was Matirit. Rabbi Ami was Makbid, because the Tani, Nishal Chacham Ba'asar. The same halacha, just from the flip side. Yes, Chacham is Atzir. I shall Chacham Acher Shem Yatzir. Shouldn't ask another Chacham because he might be Matzir, and you can't. That's not. You can't do that. Once you ask one Rav, can't ask another Rav. Okay, now the Gemara says in May Rabbi Yirmeh Inshim Miftachai the Sidra Ruba. In days Rabbi Yirmeh, they forgot the key of the main base medrash. So us and Shalom they asked him what to do. Amlan said, "Kadchamet shitfa avar." We see a flood of people passing. Isim der chula, make this circle and bring it through the chula. Now, the Gemara is assuming that you could stop the people, say, whoa, guys, let's make a circle and bring the key to the base medrash. And the support of Rabbi Yehuda Yirmeh is from this. Kol chula shenas is bein ladas shein ladas, whether the chula is made ladas or not. The Bavli doesn't hold this way. Bavli holds you can only the circle only works. The circle of people surrounding this person only works if it's shelo das. If they're not aware, they're making a circle. But says the Yerushalmi, Rabbi Yirmeh holds it doesn't matter if they know or not, and that's why you can stop and deliberately arrange the circle. Kol chula shenas says bein ladas shein ladas arei chula. It is a valid circle, and you can use it. Okay, so Rabbi Yehuda Rapazi also said, different stock, Hori Levi and Derech Minolim. He said to bring it Derech Minolim. So Pnei Moshe says, Derech Chatzeros Tanu'ulim Umizeh Lezeh. To bring them through, lock the Chatzeros from one to the other. And it's like Rabbi Shimon. That you can bring it through the locked yards, And evidently he was in one of the yards, not in the house, because you can't bring it from outside the house into a yard and then from yard to yard. For the house is in the yard, you can bring from yard to yard. So that's what was matzah. But the Rathal says a very interesting shot. He says, Derech minolim mamish. Put in the shoe. Put the key in the shoe. And that's not their chotzah. And then you can bring the base medrash to open the base medrash. Okay, so it's not man ulin, it's minolin, right? The Bnei Moshe learns it's man ulin through the locked the yards. The Radal says min olim through the shoes. Raichina Papa, he said to do a belt and suspenders. To make the circle and to bring it through either the locked backyards or through the shoes. Rabbi Shmuel Rav Dinika Havale Uvda Lemigzar Rav Shah Bray. He had a story. We had to do a story that he had to do a bris milah for Rav Shah, his son. I guess he's doing a bris milah on his grandson, and he forgot to bring the knife in for Shabbos. Anshu Ma'aseh Izmol. They forgot to bring the knife. Shah Rabbi Mona. So I asked Mona what to do. Amar Yichel Mocha. Say you can't do it on Shabbos. No way to do it tomorrow. Shah Rabbi Yitzchak B'Lezer Armalei said. Mishchak, he was upset. He said, "Mishchak kunditin v'lanchitun to grind up the spices to put into the wine. You didn't forget, and to the umaisi isma and shitun, you forgot to bring the knife. So in other words, I guess the Suda you were okay. You figured out what to do. But the knife you forgot. You forgot to what to do. Come on, guys." I mean, not what to do, to bring it, to prepare it on time. So also he said, Yidach L'macha, it's got to be pushed up tomorrow. Rabbi Yisrael Rabun Moshe Mechuna said, Masisa Armakain also last sos chule. Our mission seems to indicate that you can't make a chule. The Tanin was learned Rabbi Lezer Omer, Im lo hevi kli mi Erev Shabbos, Shabbos Megule. It says, according to Rabbi Lezer, if you forgot to be Erev Shabbos, you're on Shabbos open so people can see that you're carrying a meal knife. Well, if you can make a chule, Shemat Omer Kain, if you can say you can make a chule, you can make this mechitza people, Shmutel Asos, Afru Eina Motzi Asos Chule Mevio. He can't find a way to make a chule and bring it that way. So it's important to the point that the Shas makes here. It says, Mikam Muchat Afru Rabbi Lezer Madrinan Machshin Lasos Dercheter. We'll try and do it in the most mutter way possible. So therefore, since Lezer does not suggest do it in the most mutter way possible, which would seem to be their chule, and just says to bring it open, it sounds like he holds that chule doesn't work, making the circle of people. So the Carbonata points out that, this must be going like a opinion which we said before in the name of the Bavli, that you can't make a chule ladas, and that's why it's not usually feasible to make a chule. Okay, maybe I should say the same thing. Yeah, same thing. Okay, says Gemara, the famous story, Pesachim Daf Samvav and Alv in the Bavli. Shol Hillel Zakin. They asked Hillel Zakin, Mala Soslo Am Shlo Yusaknei Moim. There was Erev Pesach came on Shabbos, and people forgot to bring knives to Shech the Korban Pesach from before Shabbos. What are they allowed to do on Shabbos? They're allowed to bring the knives with them on Shabbos. So in the Bavli, first the whole question was were they allowed to shech the psachim altogether on Shabbos? Pesach started Shabbos up, and Moshe brings it down, and the Hill said, yeah, and Bnei B'Tzeru, who the Nasi at the time didn't know the answer, and Hill knew the answer, so they made him the Nasi instead. And then this initial question came up because, and Bavli says, because he taunted Bnei B'Seira a little bit. He said, you weren't Mishamish Shmai and Avtalion, so you forgot the halacha. And then they asked him this halacha, and he himself forgot the halacha. Right? So they asked him this question: I've heard the halacha, but I forgot. This line is also in Bavli. If they're not prophets, they're descendants of prophets. Piasetz the Rehovot Talmidim makes a tremendous amount of makes a big deal out of this. A lot of Chosami is based on this Gemara. Okay, so Am Yisrael has prophetic characteristics. They know intuitively what to do. So miyad immediately, kol mishay pislo tle, anybody whose Pesach was a sheep, tochva begizasa, stuck into the wool. Gedi, which didn't, if it was a kid goat, which didn't have a wool, kosher b'karnav, and they put it into the they tied it onto the horns. Nimtzu pischei mevim se'akriyei mimem. Says so we found it would come out that the Pesachim brought the knives. Came to a Maisa once he saw this Maisa Nizkar. Remember that's Hakalacha. And Kach Shemati B'Shmai V'Avtayo. So this talk what I heard in the name of Shmai and Avtayon, that this is this is the way to do it. Rabbi Zir Shem Lezer Kol Torah she'ein la beis av ein la Torah. So Korban says the Kol Pshat Mir she'ein la beis av klama shlokim rabbeisa. When it doesn't have a source for your father's house, it means you don't makab for rabbeim ein la Torah ein lismocha they can't lie. Kach mashkach liba merotzav. That's why he said this thing which they come up with intuitively, attack heard it. The Torah doesn't have a cross reference from elsewhere. Even though it's it's likely it's going to get forgotten. So solitary halachas get forgotten. Even though this is well, actually, the second shot is really yeah, I don't want to go with the second shot. I'm just not going to do it. Yerushalmi Shabbos brings down the Hakdama to the Ruah and the Meiri, who said like the first time the Korban Edav. So if it's Kubeles, then it's not appropriate to rely on it, and so therefore. Even though Bnei Yisrael Nevi'im, Am Yisrael is Bnei Nevi'im, nevertheless, Hillel said, "Oh, you know what? This talk away from Shmai and Avtayin, I just forgot." So we're not being able to rely on that. Just that they did intuitively. We have to actually have a base up for it. It's interesting how to connect that to how to compare and contrast that to Puchaz and Amadvar. But that's it says I think maybe that's because that's called halacha shura fefes biyadcha. So now which is forgotten, but halacha which you're not clear about. There maybe you can rely on Puchaz and Amadvar, but not in a case where it's forgotten altogether. Perhaps that's the difference. And that brings us to Kuvav Amrav. So of course we'll stop here.